options. I've seen plenty of cases where X-Plane 10 runs faster than X-Plane 9 because we've worked so hard to optimize things. But if you crank up the scenery to the max, then X-Plane 10 will bring any machine made down to its knees, and clearly no computer made will be up to the task. And so the fascinating thing is, X-Plane 10 is incredibly scalable because you can go to an absolute minimum rendering options, and I think you will outrun version 9 in some cases, or go to extremely high rendering options, and there's no machine made that can completely take it. So that's a brief look at the plausible virtual world of X-Plane 10 with many airplanes, plausible scenery, running on many cores all at once in an incredibly scalable system filled with artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence to create the scenery, artificially intelligent air traffic controllers to operate the airplanes. Now, this is the very first day. Today is the very first day this has all come together. So if we get some crashes in my demo, sorry, this is early beta. And this is quite literally the very first day I've even flown this. I'm not kidding. I just got it this morning. So, I'm going to try and fly it. Let's see what happens. I don't know if it's going to work or not, so what are we going to do but have some fun, huh? Here we go. Alright, so we're going to start off here in Javier Roland's Boeing 747 with a pretty nice virtual cockpit here. And it looks like I'm leaning between the seat like a little kid trying to see what's going on, flying the airplane. And as we come on down the runway, let's see if I can go give you a look at this big bird. Now you'll have to pardon the projector. The projector here is very, very, very weak and discolored. Everything looks dim and green, which is just horrible. If you come over to the Aerosoft booth, see, I can't keep on the runway and talk at the same time, sorry. If you come to the Aerosoft booth, then you will see this thing in the colors and the brightness. Whoa! Okay, just look at the camera. Okay, so this is fascinating. As you can see, the artificial intelligence is not perfect. The airplanes are taxiing around. Each of them is following its own little brain, but one guy has kind of gotten in the way of the other guy, and they're each trying to avoid a collision, so they've kind of frozen in a state of panic. But you can see SEA here, and what I can do is, let's go to the local map screen, and what we have here is, you can see a little bit of what's going on in the area. We have two airplanes that are flying along, and they're headed out that way, and then if you zoom in, you can see these two guys that have kind of blocked each other up. So I'm going to take him and kind of put him back there, and I'll put him there. And now they're kind of dragged out of the way. Maybe they'll be able to kind of get out of each other's way. You see? I just dragged him, so he's there and he's there. And we're going to see what they're going to do now. All right, I will go on ahead and just do a little power off low approach here. And then we will go to, this way I always fly, by the way. Life is too short for any bank less than 70 degrees, basically. So, so as I'm flying over here, you can see that these kind of medium rendering options, you can see the street maps down there, and the street maps are real. Okay, these roads do actually exist in Seattle, and because the rendering options are somewhat low, we're still working on performance tuning. As you can see, we just haven't plotted little buildings down beside each of the roads. All right, so we'll go take a look at what these airplanes are doing over here. Then we'll go up and do a little bit of flying in the clouds. We'll show you the weather model, and then we'll do some helicopter low level over the roads and highways so we can see all the cars and stuff like that in the Seattle area. So another interesting thing is the weather is required to never change instantly. The weather has to have real 3D physical locations. So as you fly into new regions, you actually enter areas of cloud and precipitation, and at no point should the weather change instantly. So since I dragged somebody out of the way, he's obviously managing to follow agency instructions and move on along in his way. And then it looks like he's getting ready to think about taxiing on out. Meanwhile, the trucks are making their way down the road, and these other airplanes are talking to an air traffic controller. And in the final release, you will hear the transmissions that the other planes are making. So you will hear this guy get his clearance to taxi down to the runway, and this guy get his clearance to cross, and they will take off, fly to another airport, come back to an airport near you and land. And so you will hear the entire gate-to-gate operations on the radio on the right frequency while you watch them fly around. And if you have a computer with enough cores, it won't even hurt the frame rate because each airplane is running on its own core. And you start to get a sense here, with those airplanes rolling around on the airport, more airplanes flying overhead, the cars driving around, even on this rather mediocre kind of average machine, with only 1 or 2 CPUs, it's still able to run at a decent enough performance. All right, why don't we go ahead and take a look at the clouds here. Let's go ahead and go for full power here. And we'll go ahead and head on up and see what we see in the clouds. So the clouds are all required to be truly three-dimensional. You will never see any cloud that's painted on the background that you can never approach. Everything in X-Plane that you see is a physical model of something that really exists. Remember, the whole rule is no faking it, no drawing roofs on the ground, no drawing sky on the back of the sky dome. Everything has to be a real three-dimensional entity. Let's see. Hopefully we'll eventually come out of the tops here. And since everything has to be a real three-dimensional entity, everything you see will be real in that if you see a building, you can come down and hover in front of it in a helicopter. If you see a cloud and you fly into it, as I did, this is going to be the result. And any cloud that you see, you can eventually fly to. All right, let's, I don't want to bore you to death by flying IFR all day. But let's just wait a moment or two to see if we come out the top. Oh, and I'll tell you what, while we kind of work our way up through the clouds, I'll take you on a quick little tour of the airplane. We'll go to view, 3D cockpit, mouse look, so we can kind of move around. And all right, hopefully the airplane will be stable enough to take on a quick little tour through first class. So the airplane may spin out of control and crash during the demo, hopefully not. But, and then you can, sorry, demo effect was the limit to how good I am with the mouse, sorry. Okay. There we go. Then you can, there we go. And then, let's see, it looks like the bathroom's locked in. Sorry, you weren't supposed to see that. And so anyway, so this is the geometry here. Oh, it looks like we broke out of the clouds sometime when we were playing around in the bathroom. And as you can see, the clouds are really a three-dimensional entity. All right, enough playing around down in here. Let's get out here. And so you really can get a sense now that back behind us is clear weather. So we can obviously do some pretty fair sailing back in that direction. But over here, obviously, it is not the case. And so all these clouds are three-dimensional, and we will do IFR flying if we head on over that way. We will not if we head on over this way. And then the projector is never going to be able to do any justice at all to the colors of the sunsets. But if everything wasn't tinted green, this would be really beautiful, trust me. But when you come by the Airsoft booth, we have it set up on a pretty nice flat screen TV, and you'll be able to really see the colors of these incredible sunsets. So we've got this cool lighting and these cool sunsets on these real three-dimensional clouds. Why don't we go on ahead and just while we're up here, let's go to set weather. Let's see, environment, weather. Let's just crank in a bunch of turbulence and crank in some shear speed and crank in some shear direction. And now we're going to go on ahead and show the flight model. And you can see the forces really varying across the wing as the turbulence moves across the wing. And another thing you can do to really see what's leading up to this, remember how I said we find the air on each bit of the wing? We, here you can see the velocity vectors, where the simulator finds the flow field, or the velocity vector, in each little bit of space around the aircraft. And although it's hard to see on this projector, the velocity vectors behind the wing are slowed down and pointed forwards a little bit. And that's because the wing has decelerated the air from its own drag and therefore reduced the effectiveness of the horizontal stabilizer. And then another way we can do that is to go to special output flight model. And now you can see the streamlines. And so the streamlines move along the airplane, being perturbed by the air flowing over the aircraft. So you're seeing a lot of things at once here. The streamlines obviously moving over the airplane and being appropriately deflected by the wings, and the three-dimensional clouds. You can kind of see the ground down there, but we'll go get a closer look at that in a moment. All right, let's go ahead and open a different airplane now, and let's try the Boeing 777. This airplane has a really good wing flex model. The wing flex in X-plane, I guess some people are talking a little bit, but the wing flex in X-plane is pretty realistic for the default plane maker aircraft. And if you make your own object, then you're going to have to hook up your object animations to various data refs to come up with a wing flex. But if you use the default aircraft that is created by plane maker, then the wing, remember, is broken down into a bunch of little pieces, and the forces are found on each piece. Well, that being the case, it's not hard at all to find the deflection of each little bit of the wing due to the air acting on it, and then you propagate that out into a bending motion, and you get some really realistic wing flexing. All right, well, hopefully I haven't crashed this here. Matthias, can you help me restart this thing? And let's just, I may have done something to crash. I don't quite, this is it, right? Sorry, it's a German computer. I don't really know the German keyboard. It's this option and this key, right?
I think you really managed to
I really did. Is there an Alt tab to toggle? Yeah, let's go ahead and just restart this one. Task manager. Sorry, as I say, we're kind of early beta, so we're still getting it worked out here. All right, so let's see. We're going to take this and process dependent. Yeah, okay. And then process dependent. Okay. Don't worry, there's plenty more to see. We're going to be right back up running in a second. And so what we have is the ability to really deflect the wings as the air loads act on the wing and really get some realistic wing deflection. So I'm going ahead and show you that, and then we will hop in a helicopter and go fly over the little virtual world to see what kind of world we build. And maybe we'll start off in the helicopter. All right, I want to take one question while this loads. We haven't quite optimized loading yet, so just so that people are bored. Anybody want to ask one question? Yeah, you.
What are the minimum system requirements?
Okay, so the minimum system requirements, first of all, I don't know, because we're so early in beta, so I haven't learned that today yet. But what I can tell you is the system requirements are going to be tremendously varied. I believe that whatever runs X-Plane 9 will run X-Plane 10 every bit as good as long as you're willing to fly with minimum rendering options. However, if you crank up the options to absolute maximum, they don't make a system yet to completely absorb that. So what we're building is a multi-processor platform that can be scalable for years into the future. But the bottom line is, if you have an average, ordinary, humdrum machine that runs X-Plane 9, I don't think you're going to have any problem at all running X-Plane 10. But you just won't see all of the amazing things that X-Plane 10 can do unless you have lots and lots and lots of cores. Because that's what's going to take to build all the scenery, all the forest, all the airplanes, all the cars, all at the same time. So.
Okay.
All right, well, I haven't optimized our load time yet, so I guess that means it's time for question number 2. Anybody? Yes?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I know, in the past versions of X-Plane, the default airports were flat. There were no rendered buildings on the default airplane ports.
Right, so what we have here is almost the same thing, but not exactly. All right, the question, in case anybody couldn't hear it, was the airports are flat. Isn't that kind of a drag? And the answer is, we're almost going to be exactly the same in X-Plane 10.0. And here's what I mean by that. In 10.0, we've got an incredible SEA, okay, SeaTac airport. All the other airports are initially going to be completely flat. And so what you're going to see is this really good SEA and this incredible auto-gen scenery and all these flat airports. This is going to be a paradise for add-on makers, because you're going to have this incredible base simulator package. And then anybody that wants to can then do incredible airport add-ons using the technology that we've got here. All right, let's do the helicopter tour first, and then we'll do the wing flex because